What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. So I recently asked you guys in the community which G5 school has the best chance to make the college football playoff this season. So if you don't know, college football playoff is expanding from 4 teams to 12 teams, and basically a G5 school is guaranteed to get in with that 5th conference getting the automatic bid. So that's going to happen for one of the G5 schools. So I asked you guys out of the teams I've listed, or just comment another team you've got in mind. So let's take a look at what you guys voted. So with 351 votes right now, first place, we've got Boise State at 41%, being in the lead right now to be the favorite to make the college football playoff. Second place, we've got Liberty at 31%. Really good year last year. Made the New Year's Six Bowl, kind of got embarrassed by Oregon. Then third place, we've got Memphis with 18%. I think they'll be really good this year. Right now, they're my pick, actually, to make the playoff. I had them in my playoff predictions last time I put it out. I think they'll be pretty good. Seth Hennigan's back at quarterback. And then 10% other. Okay, so we'll get to who you guys commented here in a minute. But first off, I want to touch on Boise State. I didn't talk about them. They've got Ashton GT back at running back. All right, he's an All-American type guy. They've got a nice quarterback coming over from USC, Malachi Nelson. That offense should be explosive. They weren't very good last year. I'll go ahead and say that. They were like 7-6. That last stretch of the last half of the season, though, they really turned it on. So if they can build off of that with what they have with Spencer Danielson at head coach now, they might be in store for a good season. Now, we're going to look at all these team schedules, but first off, let's look at your comments, who you had in mind. All right, so Roadrunner2612 says UTSA. All right, so UTSA has been pretty good the past few years in the American Conference. Now, Jeff Traylor was, a candidate for the Texas A&M job. Now, they do lose a lot from last season. In particular, Frank Harris, the quarterback, he is gone. But they've done some really good things in the transfer portal, more importantly on defense. All right, Pop Freezer says, I think Memphis has the best shot out of any team. Boise, I can see. The other I would put in is Tulane, since even though they're rebuilding, they still could have a great season. Okay, speaking of Tulane, they've been really good the past few years. Kind of, been one of the power G5 schools. Now, they lose their head coach. Willie Fritz has gone to Houston. They have a lot of roster turnover, but they've got their running back, Mekhi Hughes. He should be really good. They also bring in, Ty Thompson, Oregon transfer. He should be pretty good as well at quarterback, I think. They've got John Summerall from Troy coming to be their head coach. He's won a lot of ball games at Troy. So if you can kind of, match what he's done as a head coach with that backfield, they could be pretty good. Excuse me. Also, the American Conference is kind of up for grabs, with SMU gone. Brian Turner says Missouri. I'm not sure Missouri qualifies as a G5 school, but hey, maybe you know something I don't. If Missouri sneaks in as a G5 representative, well, the SEC is getting a lot more help than they're already getting. All right, Moff Prof says App State and Texas State, Appalachian State and Texas State will both be undefeated when they play each other in the Sun Belt Championship. The winner gets in the playoffs. So, my bad, my head's in the way. I think Appalachian State's going to be really good this year. Now, I do play a tough schedule. We'll talk about that in a second. As for Texas State, I think they're going to be improved. They were pretty good last year. Year one under G.J. Kinney. They bring in Jordan McLeod from James Madison. He was kind of the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year last year. This should be good. They also have a really easy schedule, so they should be undefeated. All right, Fresno State 101 says, no surprise, Fresno State. Fresno State, they have Mikey King coming back at quarterback, so they should be pretty explosive. We'll just kind of see what they're made of. I think they beat Boise State, actually, last season, so we'll look at their schedule here in a minute. J.M. Jones says, going to laugh my butt off when Missouri and Memphis slide into the 12 team. Well, if Brian Turner's correct, I don't know if that'll be happening, but I could definitely see it happening, J.M. Jones. I'm with you. Let's see. Jacob Notch says Appalachian State. Metallica 1 fan says none. And then Andrew tried to tell him one of the teams have a chance to make the playoffs. Metallica on paper maybe, but no, they don't. All right, so Metallica, you might not be aware, man, but with the expanded playoff, like I said at the beginning, a G5 school has to make the playoff right now until they change it. So as of right now, one of the schools is going, all right, whether it's somebody listed here or not. One of the schools is going. As far as teams that didn't get listed, I would probably throw in USF. All right, they were pretty good last year. Kind of gave Alabama a game for a little bit. They should be good again. UNLV, they're always pretty good under Barry Odom. They should be pretty good again as well. I think other than that, though, I think everybody on here is pretty much listed. I was going to say Tulane, but I forgot somebody commented them. All right, so let's look at UTSA's schedule. How realistic is that? Let's see. Kennesaw State, that's a win. Texas State, all right, so there's one we talked about. Could be a coin flip game. UTSA, if they can find a quarterback, I think they'll be pretty good, but that's kind of the question mark. Frank Harris has been there for about 10 years now. Texas, that's probably a loss, but you're going to lose to a playoff team. If you can keep it competitive, that might actually help you in the long run resume-wise, because I think a good loss for one of these G5 schools is going to look better than an undefeated like Liberty, who doesn't play anybody. If you can lose to a top 5 school, that's probably actually going to benefit you as long as you can keep it kind of close. As far as the rest, you get them in the American Conference, so whoever comes out of that conference, whether it's Tulane, whether it's Memphis, whether it's UTSA, will definitely have a chance. All right, so now let's look at Fresno State's schedule. All right, they've got Michigan. All right, Michigan will be tough. All right, but similar to what I just said with UTSA, if they can keep it competitive with Michigan, that'll help them in the long run. And then other than that, they really have a manageable schedule. They just got to win their conference. If they can go undefeated in the conference play and beat Michigan, UCLA, or play with Michigan, I don't think they got to beat Michigan. If they can keep it close, I'd say within 21. If they can keep it under 20, I would consider that probably a competitive game for one of these schools. If they can keep it under 20, I'm all right with that. And then they don't play Boise until what would be the championship maybe. You also got UNLV in there. But if they can beat UCLA, Washington State, and then, like I said, with Michigan, keep it close, they might be in good shape. All right, now let's look at Memphis. All right, Memphis, now they do kind of play a tougher schedule as far as they play Florida State. All right, now I think they can actually beat Florida State. We'll see once they play. But I would take Memphis in that game right now. I think they're actually going to be really good this year. They were pretty good last year, man. Let me scroll back up to last year. They played with Missouri. And we know how good Missouri was last year. They only lost to them by a touchdown, all right? So I think Memphis is going to be in good shape this year. And then similar, like I said earlier, it's going to come down to who wins the American. Is it South Florida? Is it UTSA? Is it Tulane? All right. For like the years now, that's kind of been that next group of 5 conference that's, been the closest to a power conference is the AAC. SMU is gone, so it's kind of up for grabs. All right, now let's look at Boise. All right, Boise, they've got Oregon week 1. We're going to know a lot about them early. If they can keep it competitive with Oregon, they're in good shape. And then as far as the Mountain West goes, it's pretty winnable. I don't think there's anybody that just jumps off the page, including Boise State. So Boise State, similar. For them, I think they might need to keep it a little more competitive than 21 because they're more of a well-known team. But if they can keep it close with Oregon, they should be in good shape as well. All right, so looking at Liberty. Remember they made it last year to the New Year's Six Bowl. Kind of got manhandled, though, but they didn't play anybody. They're not playing really anybody this year either. They do play Appalachian State, so that's going to help them out a little bit, maybe. If Appalachian State's good, Jacksonville State will have a good record. But again, they don't really play anybody. So what I wonder is, let's say they go undefeated, but we know last year what happened with them. They got pounded by Oregon in that Fiesta Bowl. So does a one-loss team, like we just talked about, get in over undefeated Liberty, which proved last year they weren't going to be able to compete with these teams? We'll see. I've got 2 more here I want to look at. Appalachian State. Okay, so they play Clemson. Like I said, that's going to be a tough one. They play them week 2. They also play Liberty. So Appalachian State, they actually scheduled a pretty tough preseason. I'll give it to them. So Clemson and where's the game I'm looking for? Liberty. You'll be able to know a lot about them. If they can somehow go undefeated or keep it close with Clemson, Appalachian State might be your team. All right, and then I can't remember his name, but he said Texas State, Appalachian State undefeated in the Sun Belt game. Texas State, UTSA is their toughest game. All right. Other than that, I don't see them losing. Arizona State, they're a power team, but they're not very good. Troy has been good in the past, but they lost their head coach, so I don't know. But as of right now, I would probably go with Memphis. That would be my pick to be the G5 representative. But what do you think? Who is your G5 representative in the college football playoff if the season ended today? Who do you think it's going to be? Is it one of the teams on this list? Is it somebody mentioned in the comments? Is it somebody we didn't talk about? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video. And most importantly, subscribe.